Hey everybody, it's that time again. Oh my, I forgot to get my questions. Hold on a second. I'm gonna go get them. I left them in the printer. Thank goodness my cord is long enough I can reach my printer. Let's get some people in here. Everybody, come on down. We got stuff to talk about. Lots of stuff to talk about. I'm excited. I am really excited. Take a deep breath, Marla. Got my water next to me, and my water is filled with vitamin C. I love my vitamin C water. Let's see, what else is going on? Oh, I got some tips and tricks to tell you about today. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday with my lovely doctor, Dr. Carley Brown, over at Ashwell Clinic. And she has a different type of practice. And it is just kind of revolutionary. I pay $100 a month to talk to her anytime I want to. So every few nights I send her my blood pressure. And it got to where my blood pressure was really good. But let me back up a little bit. A few months ago in July, let's go back. Yeah, it was July. I saw a television article by my friend Jay Silser, who posted it on he's a reporter for WLOS in Asheville. And he posted it on Facebook, and I saw it. And it was about this new type of medical practice. And they were taking patients, and she wanted about 500 patients. Well, I called immediately because I was needing a new doctor. I wasn't happy with what was going on with my health. I wasn't there. My feet were swelling. I was lethargic. There was just lots of things going on, and I didn't know what the problem was, and I couldn't fix it myself. So I went to see her, got an appointment, and for the next week or so, and I got this appointment, and I went in to see her. My friend, Flylay Laura went with me, and she was just refreshing. She is a working mom with 3 kids and a husband, and she's an amazing woman. And she wanted to put me, we did a bunch of blood work, and I had to go back in 2 weeks, and so she could see where I was. And I like to get my blood work done. So on July the 5th was a turning point. It was the day after July the 4th, so it's kind of like my Independence Day. I am going to be fighting the revolution to take care of me. It's my revolution. Now, I've done this before when we wrote Body Clutter. I lost 53 pounds. But if you're still addicted to sugar and flour and refined white stuff, you never really figure out what's going on. So she's been giving me books to read. Now, y'all know I like to read, but I don't like to sit and read. I can't do that. It doesn't work for me. But I can listen to books, and I listen to at least 1 or 2 books every week. And I have since I was introduced to Dr. Carley Brown. And she's given me movies to watch and just some wonderful stuff to a lot of us need to know the science behind things. Many years ago, Leanne introduced me to an amazing book by Gary Taubes, and it's called Why We Get Fat. And Liz is going to be posting these links in here. And hey, Leanne, love you, baby girl. Body Clutter was revolutionary for me. losing the weight. Leanne lost weight. She's gone even more, but I've been a little rebellious. I'm telling you, I am learning a lot about myself. And so Dr. Brown has this wonderful practice. It's a great practice. She sees patients. She gives you all the time in the world. I have like an hour with her. I mean, I don't even know what to talk about sometimes. And she wants to educate us. Well, I want to educate her too. So I'm giving her books to read as she's giving me books to read or telling me books to get. And I get them on audio. And if you don't have an Audible app on your phone, you are missing out. It is well worth having an Audible app to listen to books because we're busy people. And I need to hear it. For me, hearing is knowing. I can't sit down and read, but I can work. I know it's multitasking, and I tell you not to do that, but I need background noise. But if I'm learning something at the same time, I'm just excited. And I can rewind it. I can listen to it a second time. It's just really good for me to educate myself, just fill my brain with knowledge and feel good about what I'm doing. Well, one of the first books she wanted me to read was Forks Over Knives. Now, it's about going vegetarian. I'm not going vegetarian. I can't do that. And I know from my blood work, she told me that I was diabetic and that possibility of some heart disease going on there. My blood pressure was sky high. Well. It goes on, and I have been doing experiments. My friend Jimmy Moore from down South Carolina, who does keto living and Levita low carb, and Leanne, we know about low carb eating. We wrote a bestseller about low carb eating. And I know I can't have grains. I can't have sugars. I can't have grains. I can't have berries because they're all kind of too sweet. Well, Dr. Brown wanted to put me on a medication that was going to stop my blood sugar from spiking. Well, I got it filled, but I didn't take it. I know I'm stubborn. I'm not going to take it because I can control it with food. Food. And when Leanne and I wrote Body Clutter, and that book's on our website, we had about 30 grams of carbs a day was our limit. 30 grams of carbs. And I get those carbs in green leafy vegetables and vegetables. Wow, just that's it. Salads, grilled vegetables, and I had the most amazing salad the other night. We went out to eat, and I was at Dugan's Pub, and I noticed they had a salad that you could add a piece of salmon to. Well, it was to die for, and they cooked it just the way I liked it. So here I had this wonderful salad, which was way too big for me. I brought half of it home. But let me get back to the books that I've read. So I'm not going to become a vegan. Although I'm a vegetarian, I'm not going to become a total vegan. I may one day in my life, but I can't right now. I need to lose another 100 pounds. So far, I have lost 29 pounds. My son asked me this morning, well, Mom, what's your goal? I said, I don't have a goal. He said, what do you mean? You got to have a goal. And I said, no, I don't. My goal is the next zero down on the scale. It's just 10 pounds at a time. And at this point, I'm losing 2.6 pounds a week. And that's a pretty healthy pace for me. 2.6 pounds a week. I'm down 29 pounds. And I chart my weight every day. We talked about this in Body Clutter. it's a number to me. It's a guidepost for me to see. And Leanne writes about this all the time. You guys subscribe to Leanne's daily messages she sends out. But the main thing is, if my weight starts going up, I realize that I might be a little bit constipated. Things are, backing up. And there might be something I need to do about that. So getting myself regular. I'm not taking a lot of my supplements, because one of the things I've realized that my green algae and spirulina were jacking up my blood pressure. Yep. I'd take them in the middle of the afternoon. I'd be spiked up, and I got a wrist blood pressure monitor that I can do easily, and we checked it out at the doctor's office, so everything's good with it. It's just been quite a learning curve for me. Now, I've always loved my cup of coffee. When Robert and I first got married, he just said, honey, and he was just pleading, if you'll just keep one side of the sink open, I'll make you coffee every day. And I've done that for 20-something, almost 21 years. But I drink my coffee in the morning, and my blood pressure would be sky high. So I've quit drinking caffeine. And then I noticed when I drank tea at dinner, my blood pressure would be sky high at the 9 o'clock reading. So I've cut out caffeine too. And it's really weird. It's really weird. I don't miss it. And, I've always been the Energizer bunny. Just kind of ask my sister and Michelle. I don't slow down, but I have a cup of kick butt coffee in the morning, and it's amazing how much I could do. And I didn't get sleepy until 1 in the morning. Well, now I'm going to bed before midnight. And another thing, I was pounding my water. I was trying to get, cut out caffeine. I cut out my green stuff, and I'm still getting spikes on my blood pressure. And I realized my acid reflux medicine might be an issue. So I did some research on that, and sure enough, it can spike your blood pressure. I took that away, but then I still got spikes on my blood pressure. And I found out it was from the pounding of the water. So I've slowed down from my 100 ounces of water. Right now I'm doing 32 ounces of water, which I will add back to as my blood pressure stabilizes. And it's just been quite a learning curve. So I've cut out caffeine. I've cut out just about everything. I'm taking vitamin C and magnesium, and that's pretty much the two things I'm taking right now. And I will add back a little bit at a time of my favorite supplements. But I get my blood checked in 2 more months. I don't have to go back to the doctor for 2 more months, which I'm excited about because it's a 45-minute drive, even though she's as close as email if I need something. She fills my own prescriptions. I don't have to go to the pharmacy to get my prescription, pick them up. She fills them while I'm there, and they cost me $5. So it's quite a ray of sunshine when we've got healthcare issues, healthcare insurance, all that stuff going on all the time. This lady and her friends have come up with a different type of medical practice. It's not a concierge practice because you don't have to pay the money up front, but she adds it to your credit card once a month, and it's working. And she's impressed with what I've done, and it's the Ashwell Medical Clinic in Asheville, North Carolina. And you, even if you're out of state, you can come and see her, and it's still good. It's all good. So I'm happy with the way things are going. I'm not pushing myself too hard. Another one of the books that she gave me, and Liz has posted the link, was the longevity book. It's about a guy who went to China, to this village where people lived to be way over 100 years old. And he studied what they ate. Now, it was mostly a vegetarian diet with some little shrimps and things in the diet. But I'm not ready to do vegetarian. Just can't do vegetarian. Just not going to do vegetarian. And then I read a book on my own, and Liz just posted it, The Case Against Sugar by Gary Taubes. And sugar is a refined product. And if I read another book this week that Dr. Brown recommended, and it's Bright Lines Eating. And she lays out the case, just like Gary did, that refined sugar and flour, if you put them on a table with cocaine, heroin, refined sugar, and flour, then you would... It's four addictive substances there. And our brains get kind of skewed. And so this young lady, and let me warn you, I was a little put off by her book. It's Bright Lines Eating. When I started listening to it, she was a major drug addict as a late teenager, early 20s. And to quote her, she did everything you could possibly imagine to get drugs as a woman. So you know where that goes. But she took what she learned. She got a PhD. And it was amazing what her study. I downloaded her dissertation today to read her dissertation. And she just lays it all out. And when we see so many people in this world, I'm on my soapbox right now. Leanne's joining me. I see her commenting, which is wonderful. She lays out why people are addicted to just about anything. And I realized that Tums was a crutch for me. They were sweet, you know, they had the kind of little sweet thing, and it was medicine for my acid reflux, because I quit taking my acid reflux. I threw them out. You know, I hadn't had acid reflux since Dr. Brown said, "What are you doing for reflux?" I said, "I'm swallowing, taking strong swallows, exercising my esophagus. I'm not eating between meals." And when we wrote Body Clutter, I talked about the different things that I had tried to lose weight. And one of those were Overeaters Anonymous. And it made a lot of sense. And I talked about that in the book, that it made a lot of sense because it's 3 meals a day and not a bite in between. And Susan uses, the one who wrote the Bright Lines book, she uses this acronym, BLT. Not a bite, not a lick, not a taste between meals. BLT, no BLT. And it's changing my life because I learned something about the addictive behavior of what sugar does to the brain in a scientific way. And I'm attracted to science. You know, I live for what I can learn. And science really, it's got to make sense to me. And she even talked about routines in this book, and making your bed and picking out what you're going to eat for tomorrow the night before. You know, knowing what you're going to eat, determining what you're going to eat, journaling about how you're feeling in a 5-year journal. I've got to get a 5-year journal. I don't have one. But wow, the things that I've learned from this poor woman's trek through drug addiction and all the things she had to go through to teach us this. I mean, my nephew's on here, Brandon. He just got through reading the book while he's driving. He's not reading the book, he's listening to the book. And the research is phenomenal. So get it and read it. It's going to change your life as to what and how you feel, and recognizing, most of the thing we just have to recognize it, and then we can put a stop to it. If it's an addictive behavior, we can nip it in the bud. I put down my salt shaker just like that when she told me to quit eating salt. And for me, that was huge. I love salt. But I'm trying to figure out why my blood pressure spikes. Yesterday it was good. Day before that it was good. Robert and I every night we take our blood pressures together, and we can watch our blood pressures, and we just have to do what's best for us. Instead of keep doing the same thing over and over that doesn't work, we've got to find some new way to do things. Okay, I got to get rid of these things coming up on my phone. Okay, so that's my health in a nutshell. My goal is the next zero, the next zero on the scale. And it's working. So let's get down to some questions. I got another tip. I love these little toothbrushes. One of the tips she gave us in the book was to brush your teeth a little more often than you normally do. And I keep these little toothbrushes, and they're just disposable toothbrushes. They have a little bit of toothpaste on them, even though it says it has a touch of sorbitol in it, which I don't like. But anyway, I use these in between meals, and I'm having to force myself to eat 3 meals. I really am, because I can do breakfast, I can do eggs, but I just can't do much else. And so let's get control of our bodies. Read those books. I've been reading a couple a week. There's movies you can watch. There's lots of things. And let's take care of ourselves. I mean, she even talks about loving yourself in the book. And if you're not eating right and you're not exercising and doing I'm getting my steps up. I'm not pushing that though, but I'm getting my steps up, and I'm feeling better every single day. Now, this week, out of the blue, I decided that we got to get rid of some paper clutter. And to get started with our habit for October, which is, what's today, the 21st? I don't even know what today is. Our habit for October in 10 more days is going to be getting rid of our paper clutter. And paper clutter is everywhere in our lives. Everywhere. And so I asked you yesterday for some questions. And I have the questions hot off the press. You saw me get them off the press. To answer. This week we have been dealing with our desk clutter, cleaning out the top of our desk, cleaning out one drawer. You can clean out another drawer, and you're going to get the desk cleared so that you can process the clutter you find in your house that you need to keep. So let's start looking at some of this. I'm going to randomly pick. I got 12 pages here of questions. Yep. 12 whole pages. Wow. That's tart. It's got vitamin C in it. I love my vitamin C. So let me pick one here. I got one. Oh, it's a long one too. So this is from Helen. I'm a devoted flybaby. I have experienced much success with many parts of your system. I find that all the parts have truly worked into my routines regularly and easily get done. Which brings me to my paper clutter question. When do I deal with my paper clutter on a daily basis so that I have it in my routines? Oh, this is easy. She says, I'm pretty good with the incoming mail. As soon as I retrieve it, I recycle what I can and put the bills in my bills box, which takes care of most of it. However, my dining room table continues to be an endless, multi-pronged pile. Oh, I like that. Multi-pronged pile of papers I need to deal with. School forms to return, teacher handouts they want me to keep so I can refer back to them, catalogs I think I'll need to buy from later on, papers with notes from phone calls with repairmen, the vet receipts to keep, receipts for tax purposes, business papers that need to be processed and filed. You get the idea. Periodically, I clean it all out and need stacks. First off, quit piling. I need stacks behind closed doors in the dining room cabinet. Now they are organized, but I'm still not dealing with them. I'm afraid to tell you I don't have time to deal with my papers, but honestly, I don't see a good spot in the day. I have 3 kids in school and run a full-time daycare from home. Just to give you that, I'm very busy. Please help. My kitchen looks like clockwork. My kitchen runs like clockwork. The Launchpad calendar support every member of the family. We have meal plans and laundry is mostly under control. I dress to shoes in the morning, drink my water, and Saturday's family fun day. And so this is from Helen. Now, what I want to tell you to do, your afternoon routine is essential right now. Your afternoon routine. And part of your afternoon routine, when you walk in the door, you have to process the paperwork that's coming out of the paperwork that is coming out of the backpacks. So, if there's papers to be done, let's just go through when you get the kids and they come in from school. You go through the backpacks, pull it out, and it's the do it now principle. Fill out the paperwork that needs to be done that has to go back to school, sign the papers, whatever. You need an inbox for each child and their papers. If you're saving their papers to look at, and at the end of the week they go through and pick out their favorite thing, like we've talked about many times about our paper clutter. If you've got a basket or a box for each one of the kids to put their papers to pick their favorite thing on Saturday, then you put that on your wall of fame for them. Then you can mail the other papers off to grandparents or recycle or whatever. You let them go. But part of that routine of coming in is getting things done back in the backpack ready to go for tomorrow. And the backpacks, getting homework done and on the launch pad. That's going to clear out a lot of that clutter. But you have things you haven't filed. Now, stuff from the vet with the tags and the fact that your animals have had their rabies shots, you need those. Because if the dog loses their tags, you need access to those. And you need a file in your clean desk drawer or in your office in a bag to put these papers in, so that when you get the new one from next year, you just replace it replace the old one and put it back in place. So setting up the files, an office in a bag is essential for this because you can put those papers that you need to keep. Now the catalogs, I would put them by your chair. And if you haven't downloaded your holiday control journal yet, get an office in a bag that's red and put your holiday control journal in there. If there's catalogs that you want to order things from for Christmas, stick them in your holiday control journal so you'll know where they are. And then that way, when it gets time to order those, you can start ordering things now, getting it in and getting it ready to go. We start holiday missions the middle of October. You can save a lot of money if you will start right now and just work it into your weekly budget. What other things did she have to deal with? We dealt with teacher handouts, catalogs, notes from phone calls with repairmen. If you've got our Fly Lady calendar, there's a little pocket in the back of the calendar that you can put these notes and things on. In fact, you can actually write it on the calendar as you're talking to them. But there's also a section in your control journal for repairmen, and you can put it there. So there's lots of things you can do, but you got to deal with it as it comes in the house. Do you hear me? It's called the do it now principle. Deal with it as it comes in the house. Don't pile it up. That's what the piles are on your kitchen counters. Things that you're going to do later. Well, later doesn't come. You have to deal with it as it comes in the door. If you deal with it fast enough, you won't even realize you've done it. You're going to be on this automatic pilot, and it's just going to change your life because you're going to look around. Did I send that paper back to school with Janie? And you won't even remember doing it because you signed it and sent it right back, which is a good thing. So it's the do it now principle that's going to help things, and having a place to put things. Right now you don't have a place. You're stuffing things in this china closet to keep things, put. But you need a file, or you need it in your office in a bag, in file folders, or even just in sheet protectors in there. Just stuff it down in there so you can thumb right to it. Okay, let me get my pen out. I think I've answered this one completely. Okie dokie. Let me find another place for my paper clutter questions. Breathe, breathe, breathe. I got one here. This is from Carol. She says, I had the habit of cleaning up papers when people would come over by stuffing all the papers in a large industrial garbage bag or boxes. I'd shove them in the basement, and that's where they remain. I have so many bags and boxes. How do I begin? I'd like to just throw them out, but I have so many important papers, pictures, life insurance policies that are not where they belong. So they are most likely buried in those bags and boxes. Please help. Okay. You're not going to like this, but here's what you got to do. Those bags didn't get put in the basement all in one day. It has collected over the years. And I would start going through one bag a day. Now, 95% of what is in that bag is trash. And you got to handle it quickly. Use the Ohio method. Only handle it once. Do you hear me? Only handle it once. My nose is itching. And you're going to have a garbage bag. And if you don't have a fire pit at your house, then get somebody to build you a fire pit, or you build you a fire pit, because you're going to have a lot of burning to do, because there's going to be our big shredder, either a shredder or a fire pit. I use my fireplace. Only handle it once. Now, take one bag, just one bag. Don't take 4 bags, one bag. And maybe you need a crate sitting right beside you with some hanging file folders in it. This will be an easy way to do it. And a package of Sharpies so you can label the folders. And just don't pick out folders to put and label them right now. Label them as you come to what you need. You alphabetize them later. So go through the trash. Go through, if you've got a cleaned off desk, whatever you've got, empty the bag out and start going through the trash. And throw all the trash, recyclables, everything in this big trash can. And then when you find something that is something you need to save, like an insurance policy, a birth certificate, you name it, then you put it in that file box. Just label the thing and put what it is on the label, or just make it important papers and start sticking them in it. You got the important papers. Don't get all hung up with trying to organize the file box. Get all the important papers in that thing. And then as the trash goes away and all you're going to have is trash and important papers. That's it. 2 things. Trash, important papers. And throw the trash either in the fire pit or get it recycled, but it may have your name on it, so that's a scary thing with people stealing identities. That's why make a fire pit, get some wood, let's build some fires, and wow. Just, you are going to be able to get rid of 1 bag a day. That's 7 bags after a week. 1 bag a day. You got to start with a clean surface. You got to end with a clean surface. Do you hear me? Start with a clean surface, end with a clean surface. You can even use the bag that you've dumped everything out on the counter with to put into the garbage can because it's an industrial bag. So go through it really fast. Set your timer and go fast, fast, fast. And you're going to find those things that you've lost. Now, many years ago, I read a book by Rita Davenport. And Rita said she went on a trip and she was gone for 2 weeks. And when she got back, all the mail, her mail was piled at her office on her desk. I mean, piled up. So she bagged it all up and put it on the credenza in a trash bag. And when she did, overnight, the cleaning staff threw it away. They thought it was trash. So there she was, 2 weeks gone, hadn't gone through her mail, and her mail was gone. And she said she only lost 3 important items that were in that mail. Imagine that. Only 3 items. It was a check, it was an invoice, and some other thing that she had missed. Because she got a message from somebody, did you get the check? And you haven't cashed the check yet. So that's 3 things. That's what you're going to find, that those bags of clutter you've been holding on to all these years really don't have anything in them but trash. You might find an occasional thing, but old bills don't keep. Just keep throwing things away. And you can do this. You really can do this. Get rid of those bags one at a time. It's like you're unpacking your life. Okay. Next question on this page, it's a twofer. This is from Kathy. I love the idea. I love this idea. I am drowning in paper. I want to know how to file important papers and what is important. I have paper for our family, our 2 businesses, my responsibility as a township clerk. I file some, I stack some, but much of it is just thrown into 3-tier vegetable storage rack. I am overwhelmed. Oh my. I am working on baby steps of the declutter for the generations I hold dear, but I have so far to go. I'm thinking of taking pictures of things. Okay, so here is what I used to do. I was a county commissioner for 6 years. And when I was a county commissioner, I was on 17 committees. And each committee I developed a tote bag for. And all the papers that went with that committee went in that tote bag. And the tote bags hung in my closet on little shower hooks in my closet. So I knew if I had to go to a juvenile crime prevention committee, what bag to grab. And it worked really well. It sounds like you have lots of things you're keeping up with. The main thing you've got to do, you probably need some banker boxes. I love banker boxes because you got 2 businesses. And you've also got you're a city clerk. Well, you shouldn't really have any, if you're at an office, all that stuff needs to stay at the office for a township clerk. Those are government papers. I still have my email boxes from when I was a county commissioner because we were informed that we needed to save all correspondence that we did, digital correspondence. So you need a box for each business, and then evidently you're going to need a box for being a clerk, and then you have stuff for your family. Now, Dave Ramsey is a wealth of information when it comes to this stuff. I sent out a link yesterday or today about Dave Ramsey and a link to his website that gave you a list of things that you needed to keep. My husband doesn't keep anything. I used to keep everything when I paid our bills. He pays it and throws it in the trash or throws it in the fireplace. I was shocked that he did that. Totally shocked that he didn't keep the receipts. And now we all pay our bills online. It used to not be a big thing, but now it is. I don't think I've written a check in a year because I pay everything online. If I can't pay it online and I realize I can't pay it online, I don't really buy it. So you've got sort of an organization going on, but you've got to separate those papers out. You've got to separate those papers. They can't be mixed up because you've got to do the books for those different businesses separately. They can't be all one thing. But check out Dave's website. He's a fine man out of Nashville, Tennessee. I have a friend who works for him. They're good people, and when I was going to do a syndicated radio show, he got his people to talk to me about doing a syndicated radio show. They were just really super sweet. So I like the Dave Ramsey people, and it's good common sense stuff. And he can help you gain control of your finances and your paperwork. But you got to keep it separate. I know when I kept books via a check register. But now people don't have check registers. They just have their bank statements where they've used their debit cards, and you don't know what the heck that's for. So you pretty much still need to keep up with what you're spending that way. And Dave goes a whole different direction. Okay, that one's done. Let me check that other one off. I did it too. Paper stuff here. Got more questions. Okie dokie. Now, those of you who are watching, if you aren't signed up to get our emails, not everything goes on Facebook. So get our messages. We're getting geared up for the holidays in just a few weeks. Paper Clutter is next month. And we want to help you have a stress-free holiday season. It's going to change your life. Really, it will. To have a Christmas that is not killing you. And we call it a holiday season, not because I don't say Christmas. We call it a holiday season because we've got, harvest festivals and Halloween. Then we've got my favorite holiday of Thanksgiving. Then you've got Christmas and Hanukkah. And then you've got New Year's. And, all of these fall within, 2 months' time? And it's bam, bam, bam. You just rush, rush, rush. And our goal during our holiday missions is to pretend like we're going on a cruise on December 1st. That's why we call it Cruising Through the Holidays. And that December 1st cruise, we're not going to be home for 3 solid weeks. This is pretend. You got to have everything done for Christmas by the time you get home, because you're going to get home on the 21st, and Christmas is 3 days away. So do this. You can do it. You really can do it. If you'll follow our missions and start getting things in the house that you're going to cook, because it's the things you always cook, the cookies you bake, the morning Christmas breakfast, all the things, what you've got to have in the house. And let's get those things bought, and let's get the decorating done, everything done by Black Friday. Bam, you're good to go. So here's the next question. It's from Danielle. She says, "Hi Marla, our desk is in our master bedroom until our basement is finished. It's more of a catch-all than a workspace. How can I ensure that it will always be clear so I can do our desk work at the desk? Thank you so much." Well, I can't wait for your basement to be finished, Danielle, because the desk is not the master bedroom is not the place to have that desk. Any other place at all is a good place to have that desk, not in your master bedroom. Our master bedrooms, by just the fact that we can close the door, has always been a catch-all, and now you've created a double catch-all, having your your desk there. I personally don't like desk. My husband took the other day, sometimes I need to stand more than I'm doing. It's just sitting on my butt all day long. I need to get up. So he took an old sewing machine. I'll post a picture later. He took an old sewing machine that I was going to get rid of, old cabinet, cut the legs off level. He did a really good job. And I got to have another drink. He cut the legs off, and we put it on the credenza behind the couch. It matches the credenza exactly. And I can set my computer up there. I have little wings on each side that I can set my phone, or I can set my notepad. And I can stand up and work. And I've been trying to do that every day, just a little bit, to get my stamina up. And it's working. It's working for me. But most of us need architect's desk. You know, they're at a 45-degree angle. And when you have an architect's desk, you can't pile things on it. It's just a workspace. So, not putting things on the desk. One way to keep from putting things on the desk is to put something pretty there that you don't want to mess up the way it looks. So you could put a vase of flowers, but anytime you put one piece of paper there, it's going to grow. So the paper needs a place. Every piece of paper needs a place. So that's why I developed an office in a bag. And it's a cool tool. It's got, somebody posted a picture of an office in a bag. It's just, you put a 3-ring binder in it. You can keep your bills in it. It's a place to put your bills. If you keep your control journal in there, you have all your phone numbers in case you lose your phone and you don't have it backed up to the cloud. And if you don't have all your phone numbers backed up to a cloud, you're missing out. It's the cheapest storage you can buy. Back your phone numbers up to the cloud. Then you never have to worry about losing all your phone numbers. I have thousands of them. So get the desk cleaned off. And I've given you directions this week about how to keep that, clear the desk off and then put something pretty there. Even if it's just put a vase on your desk with your feather duster there. It'll make it pretty. And don't put things on top of your desk unless you have an inbox for that. If it doesn't fit in the inbox, you got to put it where it belongs. That desk has become your piling place because I'll do it later. I don't have time right now. I can't stand to hear I don't have time. Do you hear me? I don't have time is just an excuse to put something down and pile up a flat surface. So stop piling and start putting things where they belong. Do you hear me? Put things where they belong. And most of the time it's the trash because we hold on to too much paper. There is another question on this page. Let me check this one off. I like checking things off. This is from Janice. She says, do you have any suggestions for organizing recipes? Boxes, notebooks, cookbooks are overtaking my kitchen corner. Thank you in advance. Thank you for all you do. Following your suggestions for my house has never looked better. She is a retired flybaby. Well, we all have lots of recipes, and if you're blessed, you have some of your mother's or your grandmother's recipes. The recipes written in their hand, you may want to put in a frame and hang on your kitchen wall. I mean, and that way you've got some memory of them, and maybe make a beautiful wall. Hang the iron skillet or griddle and the recipe for pancakes right beside it. Make something interesting out of it. And then with other ways to organize recipes is to take pictures. And then another way to organize recipes is sheet protectors. Take sheets of paper and tape them to the paper, and where they flip up if you need to look at the back side. And then that way you have them. And you just put them in. It's how I do my recipes in my holiday control journal. I have a whole section for recipes because we make the same thing every year. And if you've got the recipes right there, it makes it easy to know. That's a weird noise outside. Anyway, it makes it easy to find the recipes. You're not searching for them. They're right where you're going to use them. So my red office in a bag becomes my holiday control journal with all my holiday recipes, all my cookie recipes, everything I need to make my holiday meals. With books, notebooks, cookbooks, so many times we don't need cookbooks anymore. We just go online and find it, or find something we like. You have your favorite cookbooks. When you have your favorite cookbooks, keep those and declutter the ones you don't use very often. You'll feel better when you do, and you'll have room for the things you love, and that's the main thing. I got an email from a lady yesterday, and we've done this for many years, but we never did it when it came to paper clutter. And she said, do you love it? Do you have a place for it? Does it make you smile? And if you moved, would you take it with you? You know, it's $1 a pound for moving. If you move, would you take it with you? Well, cookbooks take up a lot of space, and they're heavy. Keep a specific amount that fits on one shelf, and as you get a new one, get rid of an old one. And the ones that are loose in that junk drawer, start taping them on pieces of paper. The kids will help you do that. Just tape them on pieces of paper and put them in sheet protectors in an office in a bag or in a notebook, and you'll be good to go. I know one thing I with my CDs, my music CDs, I took them all out of the jewel cases and put the CDs into a photo album that's made for CDs. I took the liner notes out and put the CDs in place. You can do that with recipes too. Easily accessible and in a beautiful volume. And it's about $10 to organize them. Let's see. That's got that one done. We've got just a few more minutes, maybe time for a couple more questions. And let me see, I still got a bunch. Wow, I got stuff for shows for a year. Okay, next question. This is from Lenora. Please discuss how to keep paper clutter away after cleaning it up. I need easy, good habits for this. Well, we've already discussed your afternoon routine. When you come in with the mail, you process the mail immediately. Open it up, put the bills in your office in a bag, put the things that need to be signed and ready to go back in the mail, put them in the mail. It's all about the do it now principle when it comes to the mail. Do you hear me? Do it now. When you walk in the door, process all the paper, put everything away. It's the same way with putting away your coat when you walk in the door and putting away the groceries. You've just got to do everything to get everything you've got in your arms put away immediately when you walk in the door. And that's part of that get home from work routine. And putting a pretty thing in that spot when you need it. I mean, this morning's Ask Fly Lady question was about that. You know, put something pretty there. Here's the next question. Please insist on getting rid of old newspapers and magazines. The reasons why I should stop thinking that I have to read them through before I toss them. I know this, but correct. But this is so hard for me to understand. Well, the one thing you could do is quit getting them. Quit getting your newspaper. Get rid of the newspapers. We use our newspapers for kindling. We only get 2 papers a week, and then we get some flyers in the mail. So we don't really get newspapers, and then we take them off to recycling. I don't read the newspaper. If I get news, it's on Facebook or on TV. So, you know, getting rid of the newspaper, keep them from coming in the house. If you know you have an addiction to keeping them, then nip the addiction in the bud and stop getting them. Just turn it off. And I have a bag that hangs on my rack that I keep wood in, and then I keep the newspapers in. I have a tote bag that we put the magazines and catalogs that come in, and then every few weeks Robert takes them to the recycle place, and they're done with. They go to make more paper. If you realize you have a problem with something, that's the first step into getting rid of the problem. Okay, here we go. This is from Beth. Can you explain your system for keeping paperwork, exactly what to keep and how to keep it. Well, any paperwork I keep is in my office in a bag. Now, Robert has some files in the basement. And when we get into Paper Clutter Month, I'm going to go over every kind of paper there is. And you have, the instruction manuals to appliances. You've got them in one spot. Wherever that spot is, maybe put them in an accordion file in alphabetical order per the appliance. And then as you have to replace the appliance, you throw the old one away. I went through it the other day and found all kinds of appliances we no longer have, because I just never bothered to go through and throw out the instruction manuals. But the website, Dave Ramsey's website will help you with what to keep and how to keep it. And it's brilliant. He says it in such little words, just simple words that anybody can understand it. And you don't have to have an elaborate filing system to keep up with things. Our office in a bag keeps up with important papers. Your emergency control journal can keep up with important papers that you need with you. So he tells you exactly what you have to keep, and it's brilliant. And why not use him as a resource? It's free on his website to look at. Okay, well, we've been doing this for an hour now. I might could take one more question so that I can get through some. Let me pull one. See if I can get. Oh, here's one on one page. This is from Keisha. She says, I'm fairly new here, and I started reading the website and emails at the end of August and jumped in. Then Irma hit. Right after, I got my office in a bag, and I had no time to truly prepare it. I had been scanning papers left and right and shredding what I could, recycling the rest. However, now, with only 1/3 of my papers gone, Irma has put a huge hiccup in everything. Let me start by saying we need to keep the people in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, everyone that was hit by this Hurricane Maria. We need to keep the people in the Houston and Rockport area in Texas in our prayers with Hurricane Harvey. And we also need to keep everybody in Florida and Georgia. Hurricane Irma even hit up here. We lucked out and didn't have any trees down, but neighbors did. So let's keep everybody who's been in the path of these terrible hurricanes in our prayers. And now we got people in Mexico City who are suffering from this terrible earthquake. We got to keep them in our prayers too. So, there's natural disasters all the time. And get something, I don't care what it is, to put your important papers in so that you can grab and go if you have to. You just have to have these things ready to go. Let me finish reading here. 1/3 of Irma was a huge hiccup in everything. Routines, cleaning, decluttering, and on external hard drives. Any idea how to best organize digital papers and clutter? Well, first off, I don't think digital stuff is clutter. I have my whole computer gets backed up every month to a hard drive. So if I needed to and I couldn't take my computer, I could take that hard drive, and it sits right by my chair. But I would take my computer first because it's up to date. I'm also trying to get my email clutter cleared out and inbox clutter down to 0 daily. I have done that in the last month. There is, on my Gmail account, I have a Gmail account. A lot of things from my Fly Lady get forwarded to my Gmail account. You can select all and delete, and I did that, and it was the most freeing thing I have ever done. I got rid of about 100,000 emails, and now every day I go through my promotions folder, my social folder, and my primary folder, and I clear it out to zero every day. Now I don't do that on my home computer, but in my Gmail account, I do that every day. It seems impossible even with 15 minutes a day. I unsubscribed from 100 things yesterday, and I still have 122 things left to go through, and possibly unsubscribe as well. Why is it so difficult to cleanse my life of clutter, both digital and physical? Well, we think more is better. That's just how we're made. You got rid of 100 of them yesterday? Wow. Let me tell you a little secret. I at one time had 5,000 friends on my personal Facebook page. I couldn't even add a friend. I had so many friends. And we have 365 days in a year. At one time, I friended everybody that wanted to be friended. And now I've had to get particular. So every day I look at the birthdays, and if I don't physically know them, if I haven't corresponded with them, if I don't really know anything about them, I unfriend them. It's being kind to me, because if I have too many things coming into my newsfeed, I don't see the things that I want to see. So it's just a few every day that I unfriend. I keep the ones and I tell them happy birthday, and I'll go on to the next day. Tomorrow I'll do the same thing. It's just a simple little thing of getting rid. Maybe you're just going to get rid of a few every day. If you do 10 a day, in 12 days you'll have them all done, and it won't take you all day, and you won't hyper focus on it. We think we need all this stuff, and we get overwhelmed with too much information. And we can go to the websites and to the Facebook pages when we want to see things. So letting go of those things coming. Now, I set up a lot of filters. I used to be in every Yahoo group we had, and I had a separate filter for each one of them, which when it came in, it went into that filter so it didn't clutter up that inbox. But I never went back and looked at them. That's just how we are. But I could if I needed to. But I didn't. Why is it so difficult to cleanse my life of clutter? Well, we just think that we need more. And we don't need more. We need less. You know, people are building tiny houses. I can't imagine living in a tiny house. I would be so claustrophobic, I couldn't stand it. But the idea of decluttering and getting back to just the basics. We have too much stuff. We have too many papers we hold on to. Imagine going through your life with a little office in a bag with all your important papers in it. Just imagine that. You had everything you needed. That office in a bag became your desk. And I don't have one right here in front of me, or I'd show you. But that office in a bag was all the desk you needed. You needed a flat surface to open it up. It would lay flat. You had everything to send a card to somebody. You had everything to make a grocery list. You had everything to pay a bill. Bam, right there. In that office in a bag. You don't need a desk. You don't need, a table can be a desk. Let's just take care of ourselves by downsizing. Would you move it with you? As a lady said yesterday. Would you move it if you moved? I had a friend, she passed away back in the spring. But when she moved from Decatur, Georgia to North Carolina, I went down to help her. She was desperate. She said, I need you. And so I went down to help her. And some things she couldn't decide to get rid of. And Marianne, she came up with a system. And this is a cool system, and you're going to love this. She would set the item in the middle of the floor, in the path to the loading truck. And if on the first day she walked around it, she's still thinking about whether she wanted to keep it and move it. On the second day, if she gently moved it aside, she still didn't quite know. By the third day, if she kicked it out of the way, it went to the curb. It's kind of kicked it to the curb. And she realized that she did not want to take everything with her and clutter up her new home. You got a clean slate. Let's think about that for ourselves when it comes to getting rid of our paper clutter. Paper clutter is on every flat surface. Let's clear the flat surfaces off one at a time, and you are going to see changes in the way your home feels, from being just a house where paper is everywhere to a home with flat surfaces and that's welcoming to family and friends. I know you can do this. We're going to be here next week. I love you all. See you later. Bye.